to further sharpen our mind, we've got some business bits to dive into. So
Yes.
copywriting and stuff. So there's this whole world out there of trying to protect your ideas, trying to protect your product, trying to protect your business from others who would very much like to copy your idea, rip it off, and try to sell theirs as a version of the original.
Right. Because sometimes it's not even like a direct ripoff. Like they don't want to steal your entire business and do exactly what you do. They just want to claim that they're a part of you or affiliated with you.
So there's a couple different things you can do. You can get a patent on the actual item itself, maybe how it's produced, maybe a certain feature or function of the item that no one can use for a period of time. You see this with SawStop with their flesh sensing technology. Their table saw blade just rips it out of the way if it detects any kind of flesh, or it just closes an electrical circuit. But you can't use that mechanism until the patent runs out. And so it's just a way for the original inventor of an idea who put a lot of resources into it to get the money out and then open it up for the world to later to be able to build on top of. But there's also this other world of copywriting and trademarks and all sorts of other things. So Jason, would you like to talk about your journey trying to get your pairing tray copyrighted?
Yeah. So when I was walking down the copywriting path, I was first. So there was kind of two things I was going after. Number one was I was thinking about it from, is there a way to protect the design of these pairing trays? When I was talking to one attorney, they said, no, not really. Like a patent wasn't going to fly. They were like, because they could make the slightest little change and be okay. But they said what you could probably do is still copyright the designs. So that was the route that we actually went. So because, if you go onto my website or, the Etsy store, you'll see that I have a ton of different versions and different variations. So what we did was we said, well, why don't we try and just copyright those things? So one of the things I was trying to do was, number one, was I wanted to make it more of like a marketing standpoint, because on Etsy, I can use the copywriting emblem. And so nobody else can do that, even though there are other variations of the cigar pairing tray. Nobody could actually use that kind of copywriting design, the copyright thing. So I did it from that way. But then the second thing also is I was like, I wanted to have something of value as well. So I did put in an application for the Shark Tank thinking, well, I do have the copyrights and maybe there's some value there as well. Now, what I will tell the chat is when I went in that route, at first the attorneys thought it was going to be maybe a few $100s to, like $500 to actually do the registration for me. It ended up being like $2,500. So, if you're going to go down this route, just be prepared for attorneys to do some extra work as well. So it did cost a little bit to get that stuff, but I can frame that and show it off and use the copywriting. So that was my thought process going down that route.
Sure. Another thing, when you start copywriting and trademarking and getting patents too, I got a question about the epoxy river table guy. So back the first guy that poured epoxy and made a river table or whatever, I guess I'm going to screw up the terminology. He copyrighted it or trademarked it in some way so that you couldn't use the phrase river table in commerce. But on the flip side of that, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because they will give you the copy or the trademark or the copywriting, but it's up to you to defend it. And if you don't spend the time and money in court chasing down, we'll just use the river table guy as an example. If he doesn't go out and sue every company that's using the term river table that he's trademarked, what he's going to lose, there's legal jargon to describe everything I'm saying colloquially, but it's a big word for me.
Yes.
But if you don't spend the time and money to sue people who are infringing on your trademark, then you lose your ability to defend it.
Right, because it's like, oh, well, you don't, take it. Obviously, it's not that big of a deal. If other people are taking it and using it, you don't care that much. So.
Right. So if let's say all of a sudden, because he's filed for the copyright, and let's say Ashley Furniture comes out with something that they're calling a river table, and it's made of glass just like his or whatever, when he goes to sue them, the courts may decide that it's not defendable, because why are you picking on Ashley Furniture? Everybody's been using it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. If you're going to trademark or copyright something, you also need to be prepared to defend it, or you might lose the protection that the copyright grants you in the first place. So not a reason not to do it.
It's just something to think about.
Right.